Hello guys, Alki here. How are we doing today, guys? Today's video is something a little bit different. Obviously, you never send me quite like this, I don't think. You never send me in this kind of video before. Most of my videos are any kind of gameplay or tutorial or anything like that, really. It's mostly content towards the gameplay related, whereas this time it's actually going to be a bit of a discussion video. Something that I've kind of thought about doing before, but I felt like after seeing this, I did want to kind of discuss it, and I want to find out from the community itself as well whether you guys agree, and just kind of put some light on it a little bit, bring some attention to it pretty much, and just kind of have a little discussion. Obviously, you guys can leave your opinions and etc down below. You guys know from my streams and whatever that I really do enjoy a good discussion, a good debate. Obviously, keep it friendly, keep it, because it's healthy. It's healthy for us as a community to discuss these things and to basically argue our points, whether we agree or disagree. And at the end of the day, this is what keeps the game flowing, us basically arguing one point to another and kind of just trying to find some middle ground and try and improve the game a little bit. But this is something that I feel like is brought up quite a fair amount, and I don't know, I just kind of wanted to give my thoughts on it and just kind of talk about it a little bit, honestly. So I found this forum on Dead by Daylight, and it was basically about how it's just not scary anymore. Like the title of the forum was DBD isn't scary anymore. Basically saying that, like, not gonna bad word the devs, not gonna, basically, like, but it's just not a horror game anymore. Too bright maps, competitiveness, scare factor. Maps, like, should be darker, they should add some more fog, add creepy sounds, blood and gore, anything to basically make the game more scary is what this person who posted said, basically implying for it not to be as sweaty and competitive as what it is. So my kind of idea on this is that the game was never built to be scary. Yeah, it's a horror game. Yeah, it's 4v1 killer versus survivor. Watch out, it's a killer, he's gonna shank you. But, like, at the end of the day, I think that when this game was first built, like, even back in a like alpha stage and etc., it wasn't meant to be a scary game. Yeah, it was meant to be a horror, but it wasn't supposed to be the horror experience that you would probably get from a normal horror game, because at the end of the day, horror games are like horror films, right? At the end of the day, once you've watched it or experienced it once, that's the only time you really get your scare factor out of it. Once you continuously watch or play and just kind of get involved in the horror aspect of, say, a game or a movie, you aren't going to have that same experience anymore. It's not going to feel the same for you. So no matter what they do, in my opinion, no matter what they do, make maps darker, add fog, add sounds, whatever they plan on doing, if they do this, I doubt they will. The game is very established at this point. It's just not really going to do much, because it just repeats itself, At the end of the day, look at, like, speedrunners for horror games, look at people who watch horror movies, right? They aren't fazed by it at all after the first few experiences of it. If you watch a horror movie for the first time, you're actually going to experience everything there and then. Once you've then watched it and you then watch the movie again, you are nowhere near going to feel the same amount of fear, the same amount of scare factor you did the first time, because you expect now what's coming. Like, you're familiar with the scenes in the movie. It applies exactly the same for games. So no matter what game you play, no matter what game it is, you will get used to it. You will, unfortunately, just still have to suck it up at the end of the day, because look at any game ever that's tried to be like Dead by Daylight. Look at any horror game ever that's actually been successful. I don't know about you guys, but I've played Resident Evil 7 about 3 or 4 times now. It doesn't really scare me anymore. I love the game. Doesn't mean I get scared by it. And the first time I played it, I was bricking it. Doesn't mean the second, third, fourth time I was scared, because I usually at that point knew the certain stages, the jump scares, everything. See, and that's kind of where I'm moving on as well, is that the game was built to be basically an asymmetrical, objective-based game. There's no horror factor to it. There's only certain little nods to the horror kind of aspect of the game, like, for example, certain perks, certain add-ons, and even, like, Hag, for example, as a killer in itself. kind of does make you jump at times. That's probably the closest you get to being scared at this game, is actually facing maybe a hag, or just any kind of build where it would be a stealth killer. That's really the best you're going to get. And I mean, even still, at the end of the day, you do get kind of used to it. And once you know it's a killer like that, that's it. You know, it will be that initial first, like, grab that they get on you if it's like a scratch Mirror Myers or something. After that, that's it. There's no more horror to it. It's not scary, you know. So at the end of the day, it's been like this for some time, and it's just, you know, you start playing it, you're unfamiliar with the game, you slowly get familiar with the game, and therefore it's not scary anymore. Competitive or not, this game wouldn't be scary, because it's like any other game, unfortunately. It's just the way it is. It doesn't kind of cater to that creepy or eerie aesthetic at all. And I think the problem is as well, and this is going to be a bit of a controversial topic to talk about, but, you know, at the end of the day, it is what it is. But I feel like part of the reason why DBD isn't scary anyway isn't even because of the game itself. It's because survivors are just powerful. Like, you shouldn't, like, at the end of the day, survivors should fear the killer. But it's actually the other way around most of the time, especially at red ranks. You know, you fear a Swift. It's just the way it is, and that's unfortunately the way the game has been built. Not to say that killers are weak. There are definitely some strong killers and definitely some strong players who can play killers, but you've obviously got to think about the world of the community of everyone who plays this game, not the people who play it competitively, not the people who can play it every single hour of every single day because they have work or they have school. You know, you've really got to balance it. And when you say or compare people like to, say, full-time gamers, full-time streamers, you're not going to get the same effect. At the end of the day, you know, if I turn around to someone and say, oh, I'll just put a lot more time in, you know, at the end of the day, Ots can 4K as Trapper with no perks at rank 1. That's because he's got so much experience and time in the game that, like, you know, he can do that. Whereas, like, say someone new, or someone who doesn't play the game as much or isn't as familiar, will probably have a hard time. And that's why people fear survivors. And that's why it's kind of the other way around, when you'd think that the power player, the person in control, the killer, would be the person who would be mighty and powerful, and the survivors would be like, oh my god, no, don't kill me, you know, that kind of thing. But it's just not, unfortunately. It just doesn't apply, you know. But other than that, you know, like I said, some killers do give you a good old jump, you know, Ghostface as well, I imagine, you know, he probably gave you some jumps here and there, maybe even Pig, because at the end of the day, they do stealth, so you can kind of have that funny moment. But it's just, no matter what they do, they're not going to do it, because this game is fine how it is now, and it is, yeah, it's competitive, yeah, it's sweaty, and that's just the fact that people have got better at the game. But at the end of the day, at the same time, it's just a point where you aren't gonna, it's just not a horror game. It may label as a horror, but it was never a horror in the first place. You can see how the game was designed for it not to be a horror game. So that's my opinion on it anyway, guys. So do take it with a grain of salt. But I hope you enjoyed this quick little discussion. Please do say your input down below. I'd like to hear what you guys would say about this and what you guys think. I'd like to hear what kind of opinions you guys have, and if you agree or you disagree with me, whether you call me stupid and, you know, completely biased, or you think I'm just blindsided by this game and I just am an entitled survivor. Don't really know, but just, chuck me in your opinions, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye!